Today we're talking about how to get the x and y intercepts of a linear function in standard form and how to graph that. So you guys know about y equals mx plus b, which is one way to write the equation of a line. Well, we have another way that we can write the equation of a line, and it's called standard form. It's what you see right here. Ax plus by equals c. And that's just a different kind of way to rearrange that equation. So the thing I need you to know is that a, b, and c don't mean anything. It's not like the slope or the y-intercept. They're nothing special. They're just numbers. So here's an example of what it might look like. You have something like 5x plus 2y equals 20. This tells you nothing. 5 is not the slope, 2 is not the y-intercept, and 20 is just some random number. So anything that you want whenever you have a standard form equation, you have to solve for. That's the main thing I need you to get from this. It's just a different way to write it, but everything you need, you have to solve for. You can get nothing just by looking at the equation. So it's kind of the worst. It's not like y equals mx plus b where we can grab information right away. Not quite as helpful. It is pretty easy to solve for the x and y-intercept though. So if you look at this little graph, the x-intercept is the point where it crosses the x-axis. The y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So x-intercepts are written as some number 0 and then 0, and y-intercepts are written as a number and then, 0 and then a number. Whew. Okay, here's how we solve for those things, because that's what we're solving for today. To get the x-intercept where it crosses the x-axis, because it crosses the x-axis, you plug in 0 for y. So you plug in 0 for y, and then you solve for x. And once you do that, then you know where is it crossing the x-axis, and you write that as a point, which you'll write as that number that you get, comma, 0. So we write it as a point because it's literally a point that hits the grid. Okay? Y-axis is, or y-intercept is really similar. You're going to plug in 0, not for y, but for x. Because if you look at this little picture up here, the y-axis has an x of 0. Okay, and then you're going to solve for y. And then you write it as a point. So it'll be 0 and then whatever you get. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put that into practice with this first equation. Here is my equation in standard form, and I'm going to plug in some zeros so to solve for the x-intercept and the y-intercept. First, the x-intercept. I plug in 0 for y because I'm trying to solve for the x. All right. When I do that, this right here, I do -3 times 0, and I get 0. Okay, but we don't really need to write that in the equation, so we're just going to put 2x equals 18. So moving forward, what you'll see me do is usually just like cross that out because it just gets to 0 and doesn't do anything. Okay, and then you divide by 2. And you get, dun, 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 x equals 9. Hooray! So I write my answer as a point, because it's a point on the graph, 9, 0. Okay, do the y-intercept by plugging in 0 for x and solving for y. Remember, this 2 times 0 is 0. So that just goes away. And then I divide by -3. So basically this did nothing for us. Divide by -3 and I get -6. So my y-intercept is 0, -6. So here's the two things that we get from this, the 2 points on the graph. Here's my x-intercept and my y-intercept, and you can graph those on a grid. We're actually just doing one more example. We are going to now find the x and y intercepts and also graph. So once you get the x and y intercepts from standard form, you can go ahead and take those and graph. Let's see, so I'm gonna put the x-intercept first. So we take our equation, which is up here, and I plug in 0 for y. Okay, so I just get negative 3x equals 6, and then I divide by negative 3, and I get x equals negative 2. So that is my x-intercept, and I write it as a point. And now we do the same thing for the y-intercept, but now I'm going to plug in 0 for x, so I can solve for y. Okay, that's just 0. Oh, this one was easy. Y equals 6. So my y-intercept is 0, 6. Again, I'm writing it as a point. And now I'm going to take these 2 points and graph them. It only takes 2 points to make a line. So I can go negative 2, 0, right here. 0, 6 is my y-intercept. So negative 2, 0 was on the x-axis because it's the x-intercept. 0, 6 is on the y-axis because it's a y-intercept. And now I connect those with a line. Maybe. Okay. Connect them with a line, and we have a line that goes on forever. So you have to draw arrows. So there's our line. It took 2 points. I graphed the x-intercept, I graphed the y-intercept, and then I connected them. And now the domain and range. The domain from left to right, it never stops going left and never stops going right. So I say my domain is all real numbers. Which, remember, you can use that weird R for. And my range, from lowest to highest, going down, it never stops, going up, it never stops. So my range is also all real numbers. And you can put that weird R with 2 lines if you want. That is how we find the x and y intercepts and how we use them to graph.